All right, here we go. Hey, everybody out there. This is Matthew Joseph, co-host of the Stronger Together podcast, and I am here once again with my co-host, Rob from Tech. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good, Matt. Good morning. How's everything going?
Everything is great. We are here at Nice Gate. We are live broadcasting from Turning Stone Casino, and we're just excited to be here. And again, thank you to Tech Booth 500 and 501. If you're here watching us live, make sure to check them out. Rob, so is this your first time at Nice Gate?
Oh, no, I've been coming to Nice Gate for a couple of years right now. One of my favorite conferences, actually, because it's really a great opportunity to get up close and personal with a lot of the teachers. So I love this conference.
That is awesome. And we are excited to kick it off. We're going to be live in person, but our first guest is not going to be live till Tuesdays, but we're going to hear all about his sessions and him as an author, educator, and a new dad. John, how you doing?
Hey, everybody. John Meehan here. I am pumped to join the Empire State. Thank you guys for having me.
Nice. So for those who don't know your work, you said you're joining the Empire State. Where are you coming in from?
So I'm in Washington, D.C., or just outside of it here. And I've been, I'm a Jersey guy originally, so like I'm very familiar with the tri-state area. But I've been here since college and kind of never left, fell in love, and have a baby and all that wonderful, good family stuff down here.
Awesome. So for those who don't know your work, share a little bit about your work.
So I'm all about gamification. My space is like purposeful play, not just like the fun and games of things, but like, you know, I kind of joke in the new book that like, I think Michael Matera and I wrote 2 books together. The new one's coming out. And between us, we've written 4 books, all about playful learning, gamification, game-based learning. And like, it's very easy to dismiss that stuff as frivolity. But like our argument, which is like kind of my life's work, which is so cool, is you can't write 4 books on 50 ways to give a kid a sticker. There's like serious science behind how we engage. And if, you know, the Turning Stone Casino is hosting, you know, casinos are big business, right? Amusement parks, theme parks are big business. How do we draw our students to that same level of engagement and excitement, that risk reward of getting on a roller coaster or, you know, rolling the dice at a table? That same level of buy-in is exactly what we want in our classrooms.
Awesome. So before Rob jumps in, because we've been talking about it, this is the new book coming out, Playing with Purpose. Before we dive into your Nice Gate sessions, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we're all about, like I said, purposeful play, but really, when you look at gaming as a Trojan horse for deep learning, what we're really talking about is the universal design for learning, UDL. Talk about engagement, representation, action, and expression. We want students to feel safe taking real risks. And that same way that your favorite improv troupe or jam band is on stage and just sort of hitting the groove and time slows down and speeds up at the same time. It's all about that flow state and activating for our students that sense of not a free-for-all, but like a structured free flow, and creating that same space in our classrooms. So it's tips and strategies, but also like a lot of times you hear about UDL, it works at 20,000 feet. Our goal is to really say, that's great for ivory tower theory. What does that look like in practice with like sample lesson stems and activities, resources for our classes? Any course, any content area, any grade level.
I love what you're doing. I'm a former elementary school teacher. Now I work with a technology education company working with teachers, and I absolutely agree about the value of gamification. Worksheets have a place, but not as a focus, as a supplement to what you're doing. If you want to engage a student, meet them where they're happy and comfortable, and that's where gamification absolutely comes in.
That's the idea. I mean, that's our hope, is to, you know, recognize that it's not moving every child from an arbitrary point A to an arbitrary point B, but recognizing, much like a video game, that if Rob leaves off at level 1, Rob picks off at level 2. If Matt picks up at level 3, then Matt goes off to level 4. It's about moving every child from his, her, or their point A to his, her, or their point B. And the game will always actively respond to the reward for the correct answers, as Doug Lemov writes in the Teach Like a Champion book. The reward for the correct answers is harder questions, which is exactly what we want to do.
Yeah. That is a great way to really look at it. And though you're not here in live and in person, you're going to be here on Tuesday. You have a couple sessions. Can you talk us through what's No More Chocolate Covered Broccoli? That's at noon.
Yeah, so the first one is all about, again, playing with purpose. I can name names and be careful because they're going to like slash my tires on the way there. But Kahoot is a big company, and I know that there serves a place and a purpose for that too. But I'm very careful how I say it. But like, if you raise your child, because I'm a new dad and I'm thinking about this, on a diet of junk food hamburgers, you can't be surprised when they're lazy and lethargic and not have that pep in their step. I think that the Kahootification of so much of education replaces deep thinking and long form thinking with brightly colored bells and whistles, which, again, there's a point and a space to it, but I think it's a challenge if you raise everything on that diet. You can't help but be surprised that the same skills we're asking our students to do is like think critically, go deeper, spend more time with. Now they're just right swiping, left swiping, smash buttons. I would submit that these brightly colored guessing games are really no more than like a chocolate covered broccoli or like a Scantron for the 21st century. And I think there's a funness to it, a frivolity, but we have to be very, very careful. So I'm hoping to unpack in that session about ways that we can think about play that absolutely has a place in our classrooms, as you said, Rob, but does it in an intentional, thoughtful way that doesn't just become a race to see who can smash the buttons to get there first, especially when you deal with learning differences, disabilities, and things like that. Because if it's not fun for everybody, then it's really not that fun.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I would definitely like to try some chocolate-covered broccoli. Just saying, but I understand what you're saying. Again, gamification just for the sake of bells and whistles, and something to do. Here's a reward for completing your work. Go play on a platform that has quote-unquote educational games, as opposed to meaningful, rigorous, actually, activities with gamification. Yeah, it just makes sense.
It's a challenge, and I want to be clear that I'm not shaming or blaming. We've all been there to turn to that fun Friday. But I tell my students, like your favorite class is the one that you like the most. Your best class is the one you learn the most. If we do our jobs right, then this class is both of those things, not just either or. And that can really be transformative, but it requires a radical rethinking of how we think about the role that play can play in our classrooms, because it can be every day in a different way.
Yeah, and you have another session as well. I want to jump into that. No, that was when we were just at. AI Classroom Survivor. You're going to be kicking off at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Talk about this.
Yeah, so I'm flying in and I will be awake for about 7 hours prior to that with the flights as they're going. It's sort of crazy. But talking about Survivor, the television program, famous for 20 years, Jeff Probst, right? The idea to outwit, outplay, and outlast. I can't help but feel that this era that we're all finding ourselves in, we thought surviving COVID would be like the generational shift of our educational time. And then 5 minutes later, this AI stuff showed up. And I think that has been this paradigm shift in education more than anything. And it can feel like you're alone on an island, like you're being tossed over and you're being stranded. And what can we do as educators to make sure that our classes could not have just been an email, and recognizing what authentic learning looks like in this age of such artificiality? So yeah, there's some tools and some tricks for 100%, but I think we're trying to put process before product always, and really help teachers see that surviving in this new age where change is everywhere is more of a mindset and a skill set than a particular app set. Because by the time you've learned app 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're going to be washed away. And I want to help teachers feel confident that they have that skill in them to lean into what design thinking can look like in an intelligent, artful, and maybe in some ways authentic response to so much artificiality.
Yeah, and you must see that, Rob, in the work that you do at Tech, using these tools to ensure that students are learning and are engaged through that.
We do. We again, like you say, we're device agnostic. We believe that it's not the device you're working on, it's the work you're doing, and you make the device fit into whatever you're doing. Because like you say, the technology, the hardware, it moves so quickly that if you get laser focused on using A, B, and C, like you said, when D comes around, you don't know what to do, you go into panic mode. But getting them into that comfort zone and the ability to adapt, that's the key.
I'm thinking like MacGyver, right? You need to move away from just in case you ever needed X or Y or Z. You go to just in time, where you are aware of your surroundings and resourceful and gritty and scrappy, and have that wherewithal to say you got this. I mean, I've seen people on cell phones make $1 million deals, and I've seen people on cell phones lose $1 million deals. That's not the cell phone's fault. There's something about it that's very human. So trying to reclaim that.
Awesome. So we look forward to having you here on Tuesday. But before we get you out, Rob, you got to ask the famous question.
So I've been working with my buddy Dr. Matt for a while now, and This is the part where I love to share this question. When you think of Stronger Together, what does that make you think of?
Wow, well done, guys. I think recognizing that, like I said earlier, it's not about moving every child from an arbitrary point A to an arbitrary point B. It's recognizing that we all have something to offer, and recognizing, as a great game does, moving us from where we are to where we need to go. And that authenticity comes from the ability to be your true self, and recognizing that you're his, her, their, point A, point B, point C is welcome, valued, and validated. That today's different because you showed up. And we're really glad that you're here, because this changes everything when we're doing that work.
Awesome. Well, John, it's great to see you. It's been a minute since we've seen each other in person, but hope our paths cross here at NiceGate. And for those of you out there watching, we see a lot of people out there watching live. Thanks for tuning in. This is just the first of many. We're going to be here for 2 straight days here at Tuning Stone Casino, and we look forward to having you tune in, share your ideas, thoughts on the chat, and we look forward to some amazing guests throughout the day. So continue to tune in and make sure to check out John's work and John's session on Tuesday. So John, have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Nice meeting you, man. Be good.